Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, September the 15th, 2025, and welcome to the first day of London International Shipping Week.
Across the UK and the world, online via your PC or smart device. This is LISW Radio, the voice of good shipping debate.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Sean Maloney. I can't believe that it's 2 years since we last chatted here on LISW Radio, and here the start of this amazing week where thousands of people have come in from all around the world to attend hundreds of events. The one thing really that has struck us this year more than anything else is that there are so many events that are sold out early on. Indeed, there's one event, the Isle of Man, speaking to my friend Captain Lee the other day, their event on Wednesday night, 500 on the waiting list, which is amazing. It just shows that London really is the place to come to if you want good quality shipping debate. And certainly you'll be getting that this week with a level of owners, operators, charterers, brokers, insurers, arbitrators, lawyers. Everybody's coming into London here for this week. And we think over 350 events. There's about just short of 200 on the calendar. Really displaying a lot of good stuff right the way across the board, from decarbonisation, digitalisation, geopolitics, from the markets, looking at alternative fuels, looking at all these issues that are really, really important to global shipping at the moment. And in today's show, we've got a packed show today. We catch up with Chris Shirley-Rooke, who's the CEO of Maritime UK. He's out and about in London. And then also we talk with John Humes, who's chairman of the LISW25 steering group. And also the very able Dennis Petropoulos, who's the chair of the Board of Advisors, just really getting their views on the week ahead. Then we also look at this whole issue of alternative fuels, talking to our friends at Acceleron and DFDS and DNV. So that's going to be good. We also catch up with Thomas Norberg, Managing Director of the Swedish Club, and also Andrew Dacey, from Global Transportation Group at JP Morgan Asset Management. And we talked to them really about the whole issue of geopolitics and those aspects there. And really, finally, we've got an excellent interview with the charities for this year's LISW25. The role of the charities also always plays a very, very important role in London International Shipping Week, and we have been working very, very hard with them. My team here, with our team here headed up by Jane, really on the admin side, but been working with the charities to really ensure that they get their message out throughout the week. And I'd like to say to all the listeners, all of you out there, they will be out and about, and certainly they'll be there at the gala dinner on the Thursday night. So be generous. Dip in your pocket. They've got QR codes all over the place. It's very easy now. You just take a little picture with your phone and donate as little or as much as you can afford. They do a great job, and it would be good to actually see them do well out of this week itself. But looking forward to a great week, and we've got some good conversations coming up. And I'm delighted today to welcome into the studio. Well, actually, he's on pounding the streets of London, actually, walking around, going about to all the events this morning. It was Chris Shirley-Rooke, our firm favourite, CEO of Maritime UK, who's got a busy week ahead of him, London International Shipping Week. Chris, how are you getting on?
Morning, Sean. Morning. Do you know, I preferred it when we actually met in the studio last time. I've done just under 5 miles already this morning. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's going to do you a lot of good, isn't it, really? I mean, you probably...
Calling me fat, Sean.
Well,
I mean, okay.
I think sometimes some steps are good.
Seats are a little tighter than that. Oh, sorry, Sean, you use hair. Yeah, it is busy here. There you go. Yes, everything's a little tighter, but this is also a benefit of Shipping Week. You also lose weight. So I'm very, very excited about it, and actually excited about the whole week in general. Before we get going, Sean, huge congratulations to your team and actually everyone who was on all the various working groups and steering groups to really make what I think will be by far the best week we've seen.
Well, I think, thank you, Chris, for that. And just judging by the number of people that are going to be coming in, 30 delegations around the world, we've got ministers, ambassadors, we've got regulators, we've got owners, we've got more owners than ever before, we've got managers, all of the the service sector as well as a sort of big strong element here from the UK industry here, maritime industry in the United Kingdom as well. So Chris, we got a busy day ahead, and the first day of London International Shipping Week, we've got opening of the stock exchange really within the next hour or so. But you've also got, I think tomorrow you've got your hub element going on, your trading hub at the Mansion House.
Yeah, Mansion House. Well, I mean, we've effectively taken over Mansion House with a huge focus on investment. How do we remind the rest of the world that the sector drives $250 billion a year into the UK economy, supports 1.2 million jobs? Well, actually, we're going to hold an event at Mansion House, and we're effectively going to showcase the best of British and the very best of international investors. So we're very excited by that. Again, it doesn't just happen overnight. It isn't just going to happen tomorrow. It literally has been months in the planning with our colleagues at Department for Business Trade and our colleagues at Department for Transport. And then, of course, tomorrow evening is the sort of glitzy launch reception. I mean, it's actually called the International Investment reception. But of course, this is now firmly in the diary as welcome to London, welcome to the UK, also held at Mansion House.
Yeah, and I think it's great, that the international community is attending LISW in their droves this year, but also good representation from the domestic industry, very much your members there, because it's important that they can do their networking with the international community as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the key role of Maritime UK, to be an enabler. How do we enable the industry to trade? How do we enable UK industry to effectively sell more, to buy more, to be better at what it is? If that was even possible, Sean, obviously, because of course I'm going to say that the UK maritime sector is the best in the world. We can keep nudging it forward, and we really are open for business, open for for new partnerships, new business relationships, across the world. And I think this is, this is going to be showcased tomorrow evening with the sheer quality of those guests that we have coming. And literally, you cannot get into Mansion House for love nor money tomorrow night.
In fact, even going through the calendar, there's so many events on there that are sold out. But Chris, you've been to London International Shipping Week many times before. A lot of walking around, a lot of sort of planning of your day. Any advice for visitors, whether from the UK or from overseas?
Forget it. Forget about trying to eat healthily. And forget about, sticking to your diet. I mean, I think I did the last one 2 years ago. God, I think I walked about 40 miles over the whole week. But you're literally just on the go, and you're excited, you're energized. You're going to meeting, to you're sharing knowledge, you're listening to new ideas, and again, you're creating new relationships. And just enjoy it, throw yourself into it. That would be my sort of call to action, and just come and talk to people. Even if you're at a networking event, or you're at the various knowledge sharing events or conferences. I mean, your conference, Sean, is going to be absolutely fantastic on the Wednesday. Just talk to people. You never know where it's going to lead.
Yeah, and I think there's so many issues on people's dashboards, their agendas at the moment. Whether it's people skills, whether it's innovation, whether it's decarbonisation, it's affecting everybody. And just finally, really looking at your members there within Maritime UK, what's the sort of top of their list of priorities at the moment?
Have you ever tried to get my members to agree on anything? Sure, you've been in the board meetings. However, in Maritime, we actually managed to sort of, agree with some of the key things. And my members come out and fight their corner incredibly well. And the aim of Maritime UK isn't to sort of force agreement. It's to listen to agreement and perhaps, find a way forward. we're very much focused on people, as we always have been. How do we create the skills of the future? How do we also attract the youngsters into the industry? And this isn't just a UK issue. This is a global maritime issue. The other key focus will be on infrastructure. So what does infrastructure look like? What's, whether it's, new green fuels, whether it's planning permission imports. And again, listeners who aren't from the UK, this is probably resonating with you as well. And the final part, of course, it is decarbonisation. It's green. What does that mean? It's everything from offshore energy and new SOVs to carbon capture. So there's an awful lot of exciting conversations. Again, it is not unique to the UK. So I suspect we'll be learning an awful lot from our foreign cousins, and our international friends might also pick something up from us. So it's very, very positive.
Well, Chris, thanks for your time this morning, and I just hope you've got your soft shoes on and your
moccasins. I've got the moccasins on. I'm still okay to wear flip-flops at the conference, aren't I, Sean? It's all right.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'll go with that nice multicolored suit you normally wear.
Well, there's a whole thing of our dress then, but that's obviously, it's the wrong day for that.
It's all about reflecting your personality, and I think they'll get on really well. Thank you very much, and be safe out there. I must say, it's always a delight talking to Chris Shirley-Rock. He's you really got to rein him in sometimes, but he's good value without a doubt. Now, looking forward, as I said, to the week, we always talk about you get the miles in and you get the steps in, wear soft shoes and all the rest of it. I think also that is so important, but I think a really, really important aspect is you've got to plan your day. How many times you sort of go in there and think, well, I'm having some good conversations at this event and I'll stay another 20 minutes, and then you realise, oh my God, I was supposed to be somewhere else 10 minutes ago. I do tend to have a strict sort of diary for the day so I can make sure that I can maximise what I'm doing and from all the events I'm attending. There really are such a multitude of really, really good events, mixed really between the debate, the conference, the networking and the social side. And there's a lot of sort of good fun on the water as well with the tent. We're very blessed here in London, certainly when the weather's nice, that we've got this lovely river and beautiful views, and certainly some of the most amazing venues anywhere in the world. And I think that's really one of the attractions. So yeah, it's all looking good for this week. Anyway, here's a message from our sponsor.
Ship.energy, tracking shipping's course to a zero-emissions future. Through incisive news reporting, expert analysis, bunker prices, podcasts, books, conferences and training, all focused on the global marine energy sector. Take a look at Ship.energy. Always impartial, innovative and forward-looking.
LISW Radio with Sean Maloney.
Well, I'm very delighted to have with me today, via telephone link as well as in the studio, Dennis Petropoulos, who's chairman of our LSW Board of Advisors, and also John Humes, who's chair of our steering group for London International Shipping Week 2025. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Start of a big week ahead. Are you all geared up? You had an early shower, been out, bit training, bit of warming up for the day and the 5 days ahead. Dennis, are you all ready for it?
I certainly am. I'm awake. I've had my second coffee, and I'm sure there'll be a few more coffees to be had this week with all the goings on. But no, looking forward to what appears to be a really, really strong week ahead of us.
And John, let me bring you in. You've been chairing a lot of sessions, a lot of SG meetings, and Dennis has been the same with the BOA. This is a sort of culmination, isn't it, really, of it all coming together? So, John, let me bring you in on the conversation. You've been chairing a lot of the sessions here on the SG meetings for the last 2 years, as Dennis has with the BOA. I mean, we've been doing a lot of preparation, and this is a culmination, isn't it, of the whole week now?
Oh, yes. I mean, my fingernails are now just bitten right down. We've had 2 years of preparation and all for this week. And everybody seems to be now in London. And there's so many events taking place this week. I just don't know where to go.
Well, it's going to be a busy one. Dennis, let me bring you in. And I know you're a little bit talking on the hoof there. You're en route to one of the meetings this morning, so you might have a bit of background noise there. So you might need to unmute yourself. But talk to me a little bit about what you're looking forward to most for the week? Because it's jam-packed more than anything else, isn't it?
I think the thing I really look forward to is actually to see the results of all the conversations and the meetings that we've had with the board of advisors. I mean, I've been so lucky to have a fantastic board of advisors with experiences from every single walk of shipping life and the trading life. And to work out what's going to happen from 2 years ago and figure out where we're going to be in the first this week of September of London International Shipping Week is really quite exciting. I think we're well prepared. I think we've anticipated a lot of what might be hot topics. As you know, we're likely to have some very important people in London during that week, and let's see how that plays out. Also, what I'd be fascinated to hear is how our industry is adapting to trade in the world. Shipping industry is all part of world trade. If world says trade can go ahead, shipping goes ahead. If the world says this trade cannot go ahead, shipping can't go ahead in that area. Whatever happens in trade, shipping happens. Shipping and the logistics attached to it, really important. I think we're going to have a great week discussing that.
And I think there's a very interesting element with our friend from the White House being here in London, or shows to be in London for this week. I mean, that's going to put trade way on the top of the agenda, isn't it? And shipping will have its say as well.
Well, I think Mr. Trump must be worried as to whether he's going to get first billing on the newspapers.
No, I think he's probably got a bit of a head start. Probably John, I think, is the most powerful man in the world. But it does mean, and I'll bring Dennis in a second as well, but it does mean that shipping is going to get a good airing. But, and really quite rightly so, with the important role that it plays in global trade. John, over to you.
Sorry, I thought Dennis was, I could hear Dennis's brain ticking away there. Yes, I mean, this week, shipping is going to be all over London. It's the one opportunity that shipping really has in the London market to take centre stage. And there's so much change going on. There's so much, if we look in every area of life at the moment, we look at the geopolitics, it affects our industry so much. And everybody's going to be in London this week talking about it and looking how the industry adapts and carries on forward, because it always does.
Dennis, let me bring you in on this, because when you and I spoke a couple of a month or so ago, and when we talked about Donald Trump coming into London, I think you and I were particularly excited about it because it does put shipping on the map, doesn't it?
Very much so. I mean, during our board of advisor meetings, when we were contemplating the fact that Donald Trump would be in town and he could be in town during our week, we agreed that whilst it might be a distraction in one area, it was an absolute attraction in another. Be able to draw the world's attention to what makes trade work and how it gets moved around is absolutely fantastic. And the opportunity during this week is tremendous. And let's hope there isn't too much of a distraction, because sometimes things are said, on the hoof, and people don't always mean it. But at the same time, shipping is a serious business. It does keep people warm. It keeps people fed. It doesn't matter where the world is looking in political areas. Shipping is an apolitical sense, and it will move cargoes wherever the demands are. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about reaction. We're going to talk about consequences. We're going to talk about even things that we have been talking about, decarbonization, where the world is having so much that it is against the decarbonization areas, and yet shipping still stands strong and has its responsibilities. I think we're very proud of that, and we're looking forward to making sure that gets stuck high on the agenda, along with security and all the other issues that are pertinent to us.
So one final question, Dennis. I'm going to ask the same to John. What are you looking forward to most this week? What's high on your dashboard this week?
My point. Dennis, you
go ahead, John.
Dennis first. Yeah, Dennis first.
We're looking forward to most this week. I would say the highlight will be the conference on the Wednesday, coming Wednesday. And I think that conference is going to draw a lot of very intelligent comment as to the bigger picture of shipping and its necessity and how it operates and manages in this world. It's not about rates. It's not about price, it's not about cost. It's actually managing the activity of shipping and making sure our trade stays safe. That's what I'm looking forward to hearing.
John, what about you? You're going to be here, there, and everywhere, aren't you, this week?
Yes, and maybe just moving a little bit away from the messaging from Dennis. I'm actually looking forward to meeting a lot of old friends this week. Yes, I'll be out and about, and I think by the time I get to Friday, I will be absolutely shattered. But there's going to be a lot of parties, there's going to be a lot of networking, and to have so many people who I haven't seen for ages coming in from all over the world, that's what I'm going to really enjoy this week. Meeting up with old friends.
No, I totally agree. And I think that's a real highlight. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time today. And Dennis, thanks for dropping in on you while you're hot-footing it in between meetings, and getting to your first meeting this morning. I know you've got a busy Monday ahead of you. But gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll be bumping into each other all over the place this week. And definitely with the gala dinner, I think, on the Thursday, it's something to look forward to. But that is 4 days away. So we've got a lot to look forward to before then. But Deborah, thank you very much indeed. And we'll speak soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
In a world where clear communication drives progress, we bridge voices, ideas, and opportunities with precision, trust, and clarity. Elaborate Communications, connecting horizons, where every word finds its destination. Visit elaboratecomms.com to find out more.
LISW Radio with Sean Maloney and Llewellyn Banks-Hughes.
The whole issue of alternative fuels continues to dominate conversation, and will be doing so this week at London International Shipping Week. Indeed, if you go onto the LISW.com event calendar, you'll see there's a plethora of events on there that are tackling the whole issue of alternative fuels from all different angles, whether it's carbon capture, whether it's methanol, ammonia, whether it's nuclear. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Is it a conundrum? The one thing the industry says, the one thing that's certain about all of this is the uncertainty about what the industry should be doing. There's so many options moving forward. I'm very delighted to have in the studio today Daniel Bischofsberger, CEO of Acceleron. Daniel, I always get your name wrong. I do apologize. Jesper Christensen, Operations Director at DFDS. Nagash Dua, who is Marine Engineer, Regional Business Development Director at DNV. Gentlemen, Daniel, let me start with you. I mean, the whole issue of alternative fuels, a lot going on. There's also a school of thought that says, fossil fuels are here to stay. It's all about reducing the emissions and controlling the emissions. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Great to be here. And we are excited to represent Switzerland tomorrow at the London International Shipping Week. Yeah, let's face, future of shipping fuel is complicated. The IMO has a two-track strategy, efficiency and also going for the new fuels, the green hydrogen fuels. And the problem is we don't know from where we get those fuels, and biofuels don't scale. So we face with too many fuels, too little momentum situation. LNG, methanol, ammonia, biofuels, and so on. So the innovation is positive, technology is there, but the fuel uncertainty makes people skeptical about net zero. So we want to be pragmatic, but we also don't want to give up on the 2050 net zero target. And we believe we can turn the challenge on its head and get there.
So how do you bring all of this together? Because, I mean, as you said, there's a lot of different options here. You're talking about innovation there. You're talking about, you've got owners who are right at the cutting edge of, looking at new developments, new initiatives. You've got laggards. You've got some ship owners who really just want to hang back and just see what everybody else is doing. How do you bring it all together? What should the industry be doing?
Yeah, look, we need to be here pragmatic. I mean, first of all, fossil fuel, as you said, you should not destroy the bridges before you cross them. So unfortunately, this applies also to the fossil fuels in marine. And until the future fuels are here, we won't have the choice to stop using fossil fuels altogether. So that means we also need probably carbon capture, not only to bring those emissions from extended usage of fossil fuels down, but also direct air capture, because we need green carbon also for the new fuels to produce them, such as e-methanol or e-methane. But the good thing is, on energy saving, I will say we are all about efficiency first. Or as the International Energy Agency calls it, efficiency is the first fuel. And for Accelleron, we have a threefold technology front. We have turbocharging, fuel injection, and digital optimization, and all is about efficiency. And if you take a look on the shipping, the proven technology has to go viral. We have 50,000 large ships out there, and fewer than 40% use energy-saving technology today. And an IMO study has said that about 30 to 50% emission reduction is possible by 2030 versus 2008. And 3/4 are coming from efficiency measures, and of which 2/3 operational measures and 1/3 from technical measures such as DC retrofits, wind assisted propulsion, air lubrication, waste heat recovery, and so on and so on. And some of our customers even said that they see 40 to 45% cuts possible by 2030, which, by the way, matches the UN scientific global targets. And the good thing is the costs for these retrofits are probably 6 to 15% more than business as usual, are most likely even cheaper than doing nothing and paying the CO2 charges and or penalties. So with all these combined retrofits, so-called low investment, high returns, and with a payback to 1 to 4 years. So, the IMO 2030 target is within reach if the global fleet goes viral with energy-saving technology.
Yes, but let me bring you in. You've been hearing what Daniel's been saying there, but so in DFDS, you've been focusing very much on the option of electric, for instance, which is quite exciting. What are your thoughts about all of this, tackling this?
Well, when you say the electric, we've chosen on the short straight because of the distance to focus on electric. We thought that this is the opportunity to actually stretch the electric just enough so we can get to the other side. It's a little bit of a push because we want bigger vessels and faster vessel than what you normally see. But elsewhere in our organization, the electric won't be the one solution. And here, or as Daniel is saying, we have to go through a certain thing. We know we have the fossil fuel right now and have to find the path to 2050 targets. And here we have been looking at both availability of the fuels in different way, and also how do we actually transition the vessels? Do they require brand new vessels? Do they require reconfiguring or just retrofitting on it? But at the same time, in an organization where you may end up with 3 or 4 different green fuels, electric being one of them, you also have to look to your vessels and your crew and say, do you actually have the crew to operate that kind of thing? And also the technical know-how in your organization. And this is where the conundrum perhaps comes in, because today we have all the know-how we need on fossil fuels, and it's easy transferable around our organization. But here we will have to spend a lot of times, and on some of it we will have to say that the crew may not be ready, and we will have to come up with a way to upskill our crew, and at the same time as we are still operating our existing fleet, which is not a small thing, because some of those upskilling, the training courses, do not exist today, because there's no set rules for it. So that have to run at the same time as we are looking at the fuels. Which one should we choose? We also have to look what is the feasibility of getting this done in a short period or to medium period.
Yeah, I mean, the whole issue of upskilling, and I'm going to ask you this question, Jesper, and also I want Akash to give me his views on it. I mean, this whole issue of getting the competency there as a crew, you've got a lot of extra training that is needed to be there. You've got infrastructure that needs to be in place. You've got a whole issue of safety, and anti-pollution, all the rest of it. Is that just has to be sort of brought into the whole issue and just dealt with as the industry moves forward, trying to come to its decision?
Well, there needs to be some rules. The courses has to be approved by the authorities, and they are based on the safety of that particular fuel that you come up with the requirements to the crew. So until the requirements are set, we can't start looking at the courses, which also means that it's difficult to know what is it actually the skills that we require from them. It is very obvious the safety, of course, becoming one of them, but it's also just the safe operation, if you like, of the vessel and in the engines that is going to be an issue. And there is a time pressure on that, just as big a time pressure on that is on finding the fuels, because it's not a quick process of deciding what kind of courses, what kind of skills, and also making these courses and go out to institute to set them up.
Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Because it is a very important issue, and certainly with you coming from the class sector there, I mean, you're going to have safety is paramount in what you're dealing with. What are your thoughts?
I acknowledge what Jesper is saying, and I will not say I have nothing actually to contradict that. Just for your own point, safety is at the heart of all the operations today. But I must also acknowledge another thing that is happening in the industry. I'll give you a bit of a story without naming the customers here. So there's a bit of a story which may help us understand. So, LNG carriers have been using LNG as a fuel, boil off gas as a fuel for a very long time. But then some container companies, some other companies then took LNG as a fuel. 2023, I had somebody call me up and say, hey, we are bunkering LNG tomorrow, but we don't have anybody on board who has the expertise. And I was like, what? You don't have anybody on board who has expertise for it? How will you operate the fuel? That's the question I have. You will bunker it, even if you were able to bunker it. And that thought process hadn't taken place at that given time. This management company was the first one as a management company to take one of the LNG, powered container vessels. Very proud of them. But I think in the checklist that they created, this was missed out. And I hope this doesn't happen again to anybody. Having said that, even at that stage, the flag was also not very cooperative, if I may say so. And there is nothing against the flag here. I think we are all in that traction of learning journey. We as DNV took the leap of educated both the flag and the customer together, understanding how the gas carrier code partly will then apply to the container vessel when it's bunkering LNG, and then having that journey with them. And today they have about 13 vessels they are operating. And I think by giving 13 vessels, probably people can Google and find which company I'm talking about. It doesn't really matter. It's about saying that there has been a journey into where they are today. And I also had a same gasping moment when somebody ordered ammonia fuel vessels the first time. But if you talk to that company, and again, not dropping names here on purpose, but that company has a history of operating vessels carrying ammonia for decades, if not longer. So there is a know-how into this cargo. There is not enough know-how into operation, but there is land-based know-how today. And I think it's time for us to pick that up, and they take the know-how from there, take it on a vessel and operate it accordingly. And that is gradually happening. Class societies, all of them are working very closely, I would say, with developers of SCCW in a way to bring it together. But I must admit, it's a chicken and the egg problem, if I may say so. It's almost a chicken and egg problem because nobody wants to trust it till the time you've seen it on the vessel. And I think we are far away from seeing it on the vessel into a normal commercial usage, except for some front bearers who have taken that leap of faith, who are doing it today. I congratulate them on the choice. And I think more companies will get bored and embark that journey. But it is almost leading to that conjuncture where we are at a chicken and egg problem, if I may say so.
No, thank you, I guess. I think really this whole issue of fuels is going to capture all of our imagination this week. I think even at tonight's bunker party, which I understand 450 or 500 people are going to, is going to be the topic of conversation. But thank you very much indeed for your time today. And we look forward to catching up with you during the week. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Andy, let me start with you, if I may. These are very uncertain times at the moment. We don't really know what's going to be on the news every morning. But how is shipping dealing with this sort of current global political situation? But 1 minute you have trade routes like the Red Sea out of action, and then you maybe have trade disrupted because of a barrage of tariffs from the White House. How do you deal with this, as very much from a ship operating perspective?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Sean. It's always a pleasure to participate in these. So really delighted to be here. But the question that you ask is one that I think the industry has been grappling with now for some time. Oddly, all the political disruptions that we've seen in the past 4 to 5 years have had a salutary effect on the industry by disrupting supply. I don't think that's any new news to anyone, but it seems that the globe is only getting more fractured and more complicated from a disruption perspective, and whether it's the war in Ukraine or disruption in the Red Sea or more issues in the Middle East, I think the industry just has to continue to stay nimble. In some respects, I would say geopolitics are probably less of a concern than maybe what the impact of tariffs will be, and we'll still have to see what that happens to be over the next 6 to 12 months. And also, as we all know, the issues regarding supply and what will happen with regard to China, being able to buy ships in China and trade those ships into the West. I think these are the bigger issues that the industry is grappling with. And I'm not even talking about issues regarding regimes of regulatory bodies that exist in Europe and the United States. I think those will probably be the most difficult to navigate. They'll be disparate, and each ship owner will have to decide which ships are moving into what regions and how you're going to comply with all the different fuel requirements and emissions requirements. So there's a lot on the plate. I don't think it's anything different than what we've dealt with in the past, but it keeps us nimble, and I think we have to continue to just be careful about how we proceed and keep all these issues in mind as we do that.
I mean, that's the one thing that shipping has always been credited with, being agile and being nimble, that you've got to act very, very quickly. And I mean, you've got to build in long-term strategies, or short, medium and long-term strategies. Does it put a huge amount of pressure? Does it mean that basically some owners are going to be looking more at spot trades rather than longer-term charter deals? How does it affect the way that they think about the market and how they should be dealing with it?
Look, I think if you're asking me that question, Sean, I think the key takeaway is that with all the required compliance aspects of what these new regulatory regimes are going to create for ship owners, I suspect the larger ship owners will be better able to deal with that. Ships are getting more expensive. I think there's going to be a combination of capital adequacy or capital heft of owners that will be able to not only deal with the regulatory issues, but also to invest in the ships of the future. In terms of time charters versus spot rates, I think that's just, everyone has their own approach. And in my view, at least, is that these unfolding issues will not necessarily have that big of an impact. I think both strategies still make sense. Of course, when you do a time charter, you have to consider the costs. Maybe we'll see more escalations in OpEx in time charters going.
Thomas, let me bring you in on this. And while all of this is going on, the reinsurance industry, you have your own issues to deal with, not least of all safety for crew and cargo, and preventing accidents and pollution. But with all of this, a little bit of uncertainty at the moment, what was keeping insurers awake at night, or what are you preparing for?
Yeah, I think there are lots of different things keeping us awake at night now. I think we are obviously very much focused on geopolitics and how our owners and the shipping industry are being impacted. I think Andy has provided us with lots of good examples. And for us as a close business partner to the ship owners, it's very important to understand as soon as possible what kind of challenges our ship owners members are facing. And our role will then be to assist as efficient as possible, as quick as possible, in order to serve as a really valuable business partner in these quite testing times. So I think that means lots of different things for us. It means that we obviously have to understand as quickly what happens, but then also it means that we have to have the resources, the competences to deal with all the consequences, because the risk landscape is not the same as it used to be. We are looking at different kinds of risks today compared to what a company like ourselves or an industry like ours did some 15, 20 years ago. And that means that we have to create the right kind of intelligence. We have to understand exactly how to assess it and understand how it impacts the risks and how we can sort of adjust our business and services and support as efficient as possible to help out as far as we can. But then obviously some of the risks are impacting us directly, like sanctions. That means that we have to be very much alert on exactly what's okay and what isn't, and that we have the control systems in place to handle that obligation, because that's extremely important. So there are a range of different things coming up, and also we try to have a positive mindset around this and try to see this as opportunities to help out, to
provide service and help to the owners as far and as early as possible. So again, we see also, we try to see opportunities in this to be a service partner that our members need, actually.
Thomas, you talked there about the issue of sanctions, and it's a minefield because it really is changing all the time and it's quite complicated. Does that then put the onus on greater collaboration, cooperation between the industry and the regulators? I mean, even when you talk to the industry, they have a certain understanding or an idea of how the sanctions are going to affect things, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. So do you really need to have close cooperation with the regulators?
Absolutely. I think it's our job to try to influence as far as possible and to do what we can as early as possible in that legislatory process. So I think, and not just within sanctions. Sanctions is one example, but you have lots of other examples where collaboration across industries now will become much more important going forward. And obviously, from the insurance industry to the regulators, there are lots of different examples of where collaboration and close interactions are very important. Absolutely.
So Andy, let me just bring you in on that issue there. I mean, the one thing that we all talk about also is the dark fleet that's happening as well. And I think there was 800 ships taken out of IG, I think, Thomas. I think that's the sort of figures that are going on there. But that must raise concerns also about safety and about the way these vessels are operating. Is the situation going to be fast changing? I mean, from a owner operator perspective, how do you see the sort of the background now sort of changing over the next 3 to 6 months? What are you going to be looking at? What are going to be the priorities for you moving forward?
I think safety is always paramount in any operational endeavor that we pursue, and I'm sure all the other owners in the industry pursue. The dark fleet definitely is, I think, creating both economic and safety concerns. I've heard as recently as last week that now the dark fleet is upwards of 1,400 ships, which is quite a few. I had a thought that we'd start to see that ebbing, but that would have been in conjunction with, I think, some de-escalation of activity in Ukraine and the Russian activities there. So the fact that continues to be the case would suggest that the dark fleet is only going to be around and perhaps not going to be shrinking anytime soon. So I think less of an owner-related issue, but more of a safety issue and a government issue in terms of how does this fleet get regulated, overseen, which is not easy. And then what does that do in terms of bifurcating the market? It seems that we're moving a little bit into a sort of east and west type situation currently. So, I think all of this is wrapped together, right? And getting back to my earlier point about complying with regulations as they get more complicated. And I think if you're going to be an upstanding ship owner, you have to comply with all the operational requirements that are part of being in this regime in terms of complying with insurance requirements, bank loans, port state control, et cetera. So I don't think any of that's changed, but I'm more worried about the environment from a dark fleet perspective.
Yeah. Well, Thomas, just bringing you finally on that point there that Andy was saying, the environment is so important, isn't it? We don't want any accidents out there.
No, absolutely not. No, obviously, I mean, as a P&I club, as part of the international group of P&I clubs, we are extremely mindful about that. And I think we do whatever we can to sort of promote control and security out there. And as already been said, I think the dark fleet represents something that could be very dangerous to global society and the entire industry. So we do what we can to make sure that we are seen as the most attractive option in terms of insurance for all high quality owners out there. And that's what we can do. A structured approach on attracting the best owners and as many owners as possible through the international group of P&I clubs.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time today. As I said, it's going to be a busy week ahead, and all of this will be under discussion a number of the 300 or so events going on throughout the week. But thank you very much for getting up early this morning, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks a lot, Sean, for having me. All the best, Andy.
Thanks, Thomas.
This whole issue of geopolitics is so important at the moment. And I suppose a little bit like alternative fuels, it's sort of one certain thing about it is the uncertainty of it all. And certainly I think as both Andy and Thomas were saying there, it's not just the whole issue of the trade lanes and the conflicts. It's the sanctions and it's the tariffs and stuff like that. The shipping is very, very agile. It prides itself. Look what it did during COVID. Is able to respond very, very quickly. But it's just about having a certain element of being able to plan for the future and what have you. But trade will continue. Trade has to continue. And that's really one of the important things here at LISW and during this week, being able to debate all of these issues with the right people, having the leaders here in London who are able to give their perspective. And, this is the great thing about this event rather than some of the more conventional sort of exhibition style weeks that we all go to as well and thoroughly enjoy, is the fact that you can go to these events, you can bump into these people and you can ask them questions. These are leaders of the industry and you can say, what do you think is going to happen? How do you think we should be planning for this? What's your perspective? And I think this will be something that will come out very much at the headline conference on Wednesday. We've got the first Sea Lord speaking. It's going to be very interesting to see what he has to say on that against this whole backdrop. But certainly it's something that the industry is going to be keeping a very, very close eye on as it moves forward.
This is LISW Radio, the voice of good shipping debate.
Well, welcome everybody. And the role of the charities in London International Shipping Week has been well documented. And I'm delighted today to have some representatives of the official charities for LISW25. We have today Steve Wills, who's consultant for the International Maritime Rescue Federation. We also have Loris Brady, founder and director of the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation. Pleased to have Stuart Rivers, Chief Executive Officer, Merchant Navy Welfare Board, with us today. So, gentlemen, lovely to see you. Busy time ahead. You've got an event going on later on today. But the role of the charities is it's not just about coming along and seeing how many donations you can get throughout the week. It's more of an important role than that, isn't it? Loris, do you want to give us your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think the contribution of the charities across the whole maritime sector is immense, Sean. I think it's an integral part of how shipping works internationally. And certainly from the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation's perspective, it's a great privilege and opportunity to be involved. And I think, fitting too from a Lipton perspective, because Lipton was one of the first global entrepreneurs who capitalized on the advent of steamships, making it possible for him to make his business a global business initially, which so it's exciting to be here and very exciting. A great privilege as well to be working with such other distinguished charities with Stuart and Steve.
Now, before I talk to the others, the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation, tell us a little bit about that, because it's very much for the advantage, for the benefit of disadvantaged 10 to 12-year-old children, isn't it? So, John, tell us a little bit of a snapshot on that.
Yes, we deliver a program called Buoyed Up, and the idea is to give whole classes of 10 to 12-year-olds, while they're still in primary school at the very end of it, particularly in areas of schools marked by disadvantage and deprivation. And the aim is to give all of them a fair opportunity to be inspired and motivated by their own and by others' experiences of the sea. So we do give them an opportunity to learn to sail, to know what it's like to actually be out in the water. But also we deliver a Buoyed Up at Work program whereby they come face to face with people who work in the shipping and wider maritime industry. So they learn about engineering or about marketing or finance. They do practical experiments and they meet, as it were, real people who are working in diverse industries and careers. And it's a taster. I mean, these are still young children. They've still got teenage years ahead of them. But we see it as a vital first navigation to introduce them to maritime, to give them a sense of what it's all about. And this is one of the main challenges, that there is this attainment gap that people speak about. But very often the challenge is that young people from disadvantaged areas don't know what opportunities there are ahead of them. So we'd like to introduce them to maritime and to shipping at a very early stage whether so they can go on to become seafarers, or, as I say, any of the numerous skills and opportunities there are across the sector. So it's to give them that chance to get going and to understand what it's all about.
Stuart, can I bring you in? Now, you're CEO of the Merchant Navy Welfare Board, and that's the umbrella charity for the UK Merchant Navy and Fishing Fleets. Tell us a little bit about the role of the MNWB, but also just and how important LSW is to you.
Well, I guess firstly, Merchant Navy Welfare Board is designated by the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency as the National Seafarers Welfare Board for the UK. But in practical terms, what that means is that we are an association or umbrella organisation for the maritime welfare charities in the UK. So we have 47 charities that come under our umbrella, and they provide frontline welfare support to serving and retired seafarers. And I think the importance of LISW, I mean, it's not just about us, it's about our members as well. So, you have those 47 member charities who will all have different relationships with organizations, companies in the shipping industry. And LISW presents an opportunity to connect with those companies that we all work with on a day-to-day basis, because, I mean, we're the umbrella for the UK, but actually if you go into any major port around the world, the likelihood is you're going to find a charity providing welfare services. You might find a seafarer centre. You'll certainly find people going on board ships to see how the seafarers are doing. So, we're part of a global organisation that sits, we're integral to the shipping industry. And therefore, LISW is one of the key events for us in the calendar.
And I think really the very fact that the international community is coming into London, and so it should, it goes to Posidonia every other year or North Shipping every other year, etc. It should be coming into London. But it gives you a great opportunity to spread the word, doesn't it?
It does. And actually, if you look at the challenges of the welfare sector, I think many of the solutions to those challenges can be found within the industry. Whether that's challenges of getting access to ports, or whether it's financial challenges or sustainability, all those things can be solved when we bring the community together. And so, in Shipping Week in London, it's a huge opportunity for all of those charities to connect and really to make sure that we're all on the same page in trying to improve welfare standards across the UK.
No, let me bring Steve in. Now, you're a consultant, as said, for International Maritime Rescue Federation. Little bit of a snapshot on what you do and the role that you play.
Yeah, sure. So the RMRF is a global body representing kind of the world's maritime search and rescue organizations. So we're a membership body. We have about 160 members around the world, everything from kind of coast guards down to local voluntary lifeboat services. And what we do is going to share best practice. We also have consultative status of the IMO, so we can influence kind of global policies and conventions. And we also build capacity, particularly in parts of the world where search and rescue is quite limited. But for us, this event is really exciting and this week, because actually once you get into deeper water, most of the world's search and rescue is actually done by the commercial shipping sector. They play such a vital role in this process. And actually we need to engage really much more with that sector and kind of share knowledge and support shipping where we can. And hopefully shipping can support us where they can. So I think it's a really great week this week to start that kind of dialogue and that engagement. So we're really excited, and this is our 100th year, so we've got a lot to share and a lot to learn.
Now, just about the minute or so we got left. I mean, you've got an event going on today. Do you want to tell us a little bit of a snapshot on what to expect there? You got some good speakers. Lawrence, should I bring you in on this?
Yes, we have a fantastic speaker coming with a Merchant Navy Welfare Board background. And also Serene McNaught that is also helping to facilitate the event. And again, it's underlining this key point about how maritime charities play this wider role across the industry and how we all need to work together. It's that interdependency that there is between the charities and the commercial sector. And as Steve is just saying, it's exploring those relationships much more deeply. And I'm sure you would agree with that too.
Yeah, absolutely, Lawrence. I mean, one of our fundamental roles is to encourage collaboration. And actually doing this joint event is just us demonstrating that collaboration works. Most charities will have pressures at different times, and actually, if we can work together, then we work more efficiently. Our resources go further, and when I say work together, I mean charities working together, but also charities working together with the industry. I think we can do a huge amount if we're on the on message and we're heading for the same goals. And actually, if we can share those goals in just an hour or so's time, then we have an opportunity to really drive that collaboration ambition.
And just a bit of information for the listeners as well. Plenty of opportunity throughout the week to bump into the official charities of LISW25. Also, the gala dinner. There'll be QR codes aplenty around everywhere. Screens and everything. And when you're queuing up for your drink at the bar, there'll be a QR code.
Yes.
And really just to make life simple, we're all on phones nowadays. Take a picture of the QR codes, give a donation. That's lovely. Also, just a bit of information, go onto the LISW website. All the information about the charities are there as well, and links, and you'll be able to sort of learn a bit more about that as well. But gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time today. Looking forward to a very, very busy LISW, and I know that you'll be everywhere, you'll be popping up everywhere. But thank you very much for your time today.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Sean.
LISW Radio with Sean Maloney.
I can't believe that's the first show of the week over and done with. It's been great speaking to everybody today. A lot of good insight into what's going on. And really just hoping you all have a very, very good first day at London International Shipping Week. Don't forget to go onto the LISW.com website. Everything is on there. So you can go onto the menu on the right-hand side, thing that looks like a little sort of cheeseburger or so. Click on that, go onto the event calendar. And then you've got all the events of happening today. So, and there's a lot happening. So, look forward to maybe bumping into you during today, and we'll see you bright and early at 7:00 tomorrow morning. So have a good first day at London International Shipping Week, everybody, and speak to you tomorrow.